Good day, everyone. Once again, I am your teacher Danny of Aliparan Day Senior High School. Today, we'll discuss about Judaism, the root of religion in the West. The Jews started it all, and by it means so many of the things we care about, the underlying values that make all of us, Jew and Gentile, believer and atheist, tick. Without the Jews, we should see the world through different eyes, hear with different ears, even feel the different feelings. We will think with a different mind, interpret all our experiences differently, draws different conclusion from the things that befall us, and we will set different course for our lives. That is according to Thomas Cahill, The Gift of the Jews. The patriarchs of three faiths, they believe in commons of the West that humans, which is the highest creation of God, the linear timelines, God has a personal relationship with humans. Speak through prophets, God is love. How can these three religions, as diverse and often hostile as Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, be classified as closely related religions? This is how the Judaism or the Judaism religion came about, starting from Abraham, which is considered as the patriarchs of the Semitic faiths. Then below we have Isaac, which is considered as the patriarch of Judaism. Next one is Jacob, which is considered as the beginning of the existence of the 12 tribes of Israel. Then we have during the time of Egypt, which is Joseph, then followed by Moses, then another one Saul and David, then Solomon. So through this, Judaism born, which is considered as Jesus, which is the descendants or descended from the line of David. And the next, on the other side, we have Ismail, the father of the Arab race, exiled from Canaan and sent into the desert, founded Medina. Through Ismail, we have Muhammad, which is the final prophet of Islam. This is the timeline of the Abrahamic religion. So we have the Judaism, Christianity, and Islam timeline. So Judaism exists 2000 BC. Christianity is 30 AD, while Islam is 610 AD. So if we consider the timeline of Abrahamic religion, so 1400 BCE, that is written in Torah, establishes the Jewish religion. Then after 600 BCE, so the Old Testament written or writes the scriptures and the belief of only one God. Then after that, the existence of Islam. We have here the map of the journey of Abraham to Canaan. So that is the old name of the place. Okay, so in the history of the Jews, before they call Abram, then later they called Abraham. Abraham came from Ur. Then the covenant with God or the agreement follow only one God, and God will provide a land of milk and honey according to the covenant. Then monotheism, they believe in only one God. Promised land, which is Canaan. Then Abraham moved his family and people from Ur to Canaan, which God promised to him. Then he has the two sons, Isaac and Ismail. From then, Abraham considered as the fathers of patriarchs of Judaism. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob established the covenant. God will love humanity, and humanity will love God and God alone. We have the key ideas that emerge. First, we have Jews, which is considered as God's chosen people. Then the promised land. Jacob, which has the 12 sons, or considered as the 12 tribes of Israel. Then, on that, we have Joseph, moves the tribe to Egypt. Next to the descendants is Moses. Moses, raised in Pharaoh's place, called to free the Israelites and return them to the promised land. The 10 plagues, the Passover, the Exodus, or considered as the Sinai Peninsula, and we have the Ten Commandments. After the time of Moses, we have the time of judges, kings, exiles, and prophets. First, we have judges. 40 years later, when the Israelites reached Canaan. Then after that, the time of kings, which considered as the 1000 or after 1000 BCE. Then we have the ruler Saul, David, Solomon that builds the temple, the Levites or the priestly caste. Then Canaan splits into Israel from the north in Judah from the south. The Assyrians conquer the place during the time, which is considered as 721 BCE. Then the conquer of Babylonians, 586 BCE. Then the Babylonian captivity. Then the destroyed of the temple. Then the beginning of diaspora. Then the synagogue worship or the rabbis emerge. And the belief of Messiah emerges. So this is the kingdom of Israel and Judah during that time. This is the map. So it's divided into two. So at present, we have Israel and Jordan or Lebanon. This is the picture of the temple. This is the start of King Solomon, the building of temples. Then we have the diaspora during the time. Diaspora term is used when referring to the Jewish population living outside Israel. By the 3rd century BCE, most Jews live in diaspora. So we have here the map. So meaning to say, there are Jews living outside Israel. Next, we have the revolts and foreign control. Jews return, prophets condemn non-Jewish ways, temple is rebuilt, the Maccabean revolt during the 164 BCE. Then they have the self-rule, the Chanukah, the Roman domination, during 64 BCE, and the Jewish revolt during the 66 CE, then temple destroyed during 770 CE. Then the survival depends on Pharisees. Then we have the rabbinic Judaism emerges. Next, we have the key term of the prophets. The end of the era predicted by prophets. The prophet is a person who receives a message from God and delivers that message to God's people. Usually, prophets warn of the coming crisis based on the inability of people to be true to their covenant with God. The prophetic tradition is shared by Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. Next, we have the history of Jewish persecutions. First, we have the Zionism, which is considered as the movement to restore the nation of Israel to the Jews. It began strongly in 1900s and finally succeeded in 1948 with the establishment of the Jewish homeland in Israel. That is after Second World War, when the United Nations considered Israel as one of the nation and relocate Israel as in one place to restore the Jewish nation. Next, the Tanakh. Tanakh in the Old Testament or Hebrew Bible, written over a period of 100 years from 1300s BCE to 300 BCE, includes history, fiction, non-fiction, laws, myths, instructional guides, etc. This contains the Torah, the prophets, and the writings, basically all of the Old Testament. For Jews, the most important section of Torah is the Pentateuch. Another one, which is the Torah, written over 400 years. The word Torah means revelation, teaching, or instruction. For Jews, it means a way by which to live. Torah have the first 5 books in the Hebrew scriptures, also called the Pentateuch. For them, the Genesis is a myth and story about creation. Then they have the Exodus, the story of Moses leading Israelites back to Canaan. Next one is Leviticus, the rituals and ceremonies performed during temple worship done by priests called Levites. Then they have Numbers, outline the Israelites' faith growth while wandering for 39 years in the desert before entering the Promised Land. The next is Deuteronomy, outline the 613 laws that Jews are called to follow. In addition to the Ten Commandments, this includes KOSHER, marriage, family, property, murder, etc. The Torah and Tanakh. Why would the book become the most important element once Solomon's temple was destroyed and the Jews were sent into exile? What part of the Tanakh would become less important and more important? So we have the picture here, which is the 16 scroll make up the Tanakh or the Hebrew Bible. And in the Christian Bible, we have also the Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. We have also Joshua, Judges, Samuel, Kings, Isaiah, Jeremiah, and Ezekiel. Then, on the other side, another scroll and the 12 prophets. Next, we have the Talmud. Talmud is a commentary on Tanakh written by rabbis. It is a collection of written Jewish law and oral traditions pertaining the law. Basically, it is an interpretation of the Pentateuch. It developed as a collection and materials used to settle problems concerning the obligations imposed on Jews by the law. In addition, the Talmud contains the collection of oral stories dealing with how Yahweh intervened in the lives of the Hebrew people. Such stories were handed down from word to mouth, not written from the generation to generation. The Talmud is divided into two sections. The Mishnah, a collection of oral laws handed down from around 200 CE, and the Gemara, the collection of discussions of the Mishnah, a discussion on the discussion. Next, we have the Creed. The Shema, most important fundamental statement of Jewish beliefs taken from the Torah. The statement refers to the two fundamental concepts. One is the God is the other God, and the Jewish people are the chosen people. The second is the belief in monotheism. Hear, O Israel, the Lord of our God, the Lord is one, according to the writings in the Deuteronomy 6:4-9. So for the Jews, it is considered as Shema or Shema. Next, we have the Creed or the five fundamental concepts. According to Philo, a Jewish philosopher, that there is a God, there is only one God. God created the world, but it will not last forever. There is only one universe. God cares for the world and all of its creatures. Next, we have the Creed, which is the 13 Articles of Faith. Maimonides, 1135 to 1204 CE, adapted Philo's five concepts into 13 key statements. Okay, we have the existence of God, the Creator, there is only one God. God unity, there is only one universe. God incorporeality, God is all-knowing. God eternity, God is eternal external to time. The obligation to worship God alone. The truth of the word of the prophets. The superiority of the prophecy of Moses or the Torah. The Torah as God's revelation to Moses. The immutability of Torah. Then the next is God omniscience. Then the retribution of the world, and the next is the punishment or reward. Then the coming of the Messiah, the resurrection of the dead. So that is the 13 articles of faith. For other beliefs, which is creed, they believe that chosen people, they were picked by God and set apart from others, considered as Israel or the Promised Land. Then the Messiah will come, bring peace and prosperity for the Jews, resurrect, judge dead and rebuild temples. Then the Ten Commandments, the Creed and the Code. Next, let's go to the Code. First is MITZVAH, MITZVAH Code. Keeping the covenant means following God's mitzvot, the act of doing a good deed. More specifically, a commandment from God that gives people ethical direction. Next is the Bible. The Bible contains 613 mitzvot, including the Ten Commandments, which is the heart of the law, the prayer 3 times a day, morning, noon, and night. We have the tzedakah, the charity, 10 to 15%, the Sabbath, the Friday sundown to Saturday sundown, no work. Following mitzvot helps Jews live in right relationship with God. So that is the code or the belief of the Judaism. The next code is KOSHER. Several Jewish laws are devoted to food. These laws are called kosher or kashrut. Jews may eat all fruits and vegetables, split halves animals, chicken, turkey, duck, and fish with fins and scales, but not eat horses, pigs, birds and prey, or shellfish. They are also permitted the foods must be slaughtered in ritual fashion. All blood is drained and must be killed with a little pain as possible. No meat or dairy can be eaten together, and all utensils for each type must be kept separate. Another one in the kosher code, they have 5 reasons. First, they have hygienic. Judaism forbids eating animals that died without proper slaughter and the draining of the blood, which is the medium for the growth of bacteria. Judaism also forbids eating animals that have abscesses or their lungs or other health problems. Moral lessons. Jews are taught to be sensitive to others' feelings, even in the feeling of animals. Next, the national reason. The Jewish people have the mission of Tikkun Olam, repairing the world. A special diet reminds them of their mission and keeps them together as a people to fulfill it. The fourth is mystical. The Torah calls the Jews a holy people and prescribes a holy diet. You are what you eat. Kosher is God's diet or spirituality. Jewish mysticism teaches that non-kosher food blocks the spiritual potential of the soul. And the last one of the code is discipline. If a person can be disciplined in what and when he eats, it follows that he can be disciplined in other areas of life. Okay, we have the readings assignment. Introduction of the law. This is the law of Moses set before the Israelites. These are the stipulations, decrees, and laws Moses gave them when they came out of Egypt. So the Jewish law written in Leviticus and Deuteronomy. So we have here Deuteronomy 14, 21, 1 to 21, 20, 1 to 20, 22, 13 to 30, chapter 12, 1 to 14. We have chapter 16, 1 to 17, 5, chapter 5, 11 to 15, and the Leviticus chapter 11, verse 1 to 45, chapter 19, 1 to 17, and chapter 19, verse 18 to 38. We have here the covenant with Noah, which is considered also as a code for Judaism. Jews believe that non-Jews are also obligated to follow those mitzvot pronounced before Abraham's time by Noah. This includes, number one, do not commit adultery. Then do not commit blasphemy. Do not commit murder. Do not commit theft. Do not commit sexual immorality. Do not remove and eat the limb of a living animal. Then establish a judicial system with courts to enforce the above six. Another one is the code, which is the sin. According to the Jewish tradition or belief, failure to live the covenant is called sin. Sin includes deliberately going against moral laws and violating ritual or purity laws. Sin is a break in the relationship with God. In the days of the temple, sacrifices were carried out to heal this break. Today, Jews celebrate Yom Kippur. Next one is another code is community outreach. Hospitality is a key feature of Judaism. This includes welcoming guests into one's home and community and meeting the needs of the elderly, sick, and poor in the community. Another one is Jews believe in tikkun ulam, repairing to the world. This can range from political action to planting a tree. Next is the cult or the worship. The clergy or laypersons in the Jewish faith, any Jew is considered to be knowledgeable inasmuch as conduct the lead a worship service. However, it is usually the rabbi who will do so. Another one, the rabbi is a trained scholar, teacher, an interpreter of Jewish law. They are also a person who will officiate the certain ceremonies such as bat mitzvah, and marriages. Then the next is synagogue, is the center of all worships. Another one in the worship cult, we have the blessing or the berakah, are the foundation of Jewish prayer through through blessings of Jews acknowledge, praise, and thank and petition to God. There are three types of blessing: the thanks or kiddush, the mitzvot, reciting before performing a mitzvah, acknowledges the commandments are divinely given and God's or thanks God for the chance to fulfill a religious precept. And the third one is praise, recite before each festival. Another one is the call on service or services. When Jewish people pray communally, a minyan or a quorum of 10 males over 13 is required. Reform and Reconstructionist Jews count women. 3 worship services are held daily. evening, morning, and afternoon. The Torah reading is the center part of certain worship services during the week. One of the Torah's 54 sections is read each week. The entire Torah is read each year. Worship is the home, is all central of the Jewish faith. Meals specifically are considered sacred for Jews and are used to commemorate most events. Next is the Torah scroll, the cult. The five books of Moses on parchment, the most sacred object of Jewish life, essential for worship, kept in the place of honor and read as specific times during service. Next, we have the Holy Ark, symbolizes the Ark of the Covenant, sits on the raised platform and contains the scrolls. Thank you and good day.